My first wild orchid. Oh, I'm chuffed. I haven't seen one for a whole year. They come in June and then they go away again in sort of July. So beautiful. So what about bailiwick as a word? Well, it doesn't really have any meaning in modern English. I mean, there's the bailey part seems. I would have had an impression that it meant something to do with security or something like that. The sort of medieval idea, castle security, or the opening in a palace, that sort of thing. But it seems to have meant something, a division of a forest. Wick is a very old word, possibly goes back to Latin, but it means a chopped off part of a village for a special purpose. Often that means a dairy farm, but sometimes it doesn't. It is so a bailiwick is because it's forests of royal. It's like a subdivision. It might even be, as in this area, like a privatised part of a royal forest. But it doesn't really exist as a word in English now. It's in English, but it does seem to be preserved in a phrase, an American phrase, where something along the lines of, I'm not that familiar with it, but I have heard it. That man's in his bailiwick. We might use the same, might use a different phrase that means the same sort of thing. That man knows his onions. He has, the onions have nothing to do with it. It's just a man who knows what he's talking about. Has full authority in his particular area, and it does seem to have been preserved in that. That word does seem to have been preserved in American English in some sense. And so that's quite interesting. It's interesting since I've been doing this sort of topographical, historical stuff, that it's given me a new insight, not only in English, British English, but in international English. The English, as it's gone out into the world and done its own thing, it's still preserved really quite ancient phrases that have found new uses. I find that very, very interesting. I don't want this channel to be about nationalism, because it's with the, I am a patriot, but I'm a left of centre one. I don't believe every bit of bullshit that comes out of the British government, but though unlike some people, I am prepared to defend my own country, which I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of talk about nationalism, especially with what's, these like Netflix series where we're talking about archaeology, but it's not archaeology at all, because it's just not based on facts. And it does seem to be part of a nationalistic narrative that serves nobody except for demagogues. And though I'm not happy at all with, I can understand why people are being quite angry towards sort of a left-wing elite and want to reclaim their countries from them. It's a lot of these people are not very nice people at all. You know, I'm no fan of wokery myself, but would I want anyway? Enough politics, but it's you know. So this is about English as it is spoken here, and English perhaps might be this sort of English. What I'm doing might be of interest to people who speak English but don't come from England. You might want to know where. You know, you may use the phrase bailiwick, but not know where it comes from. Well, it comes from here. This is a bailiwick here. This wood here, and that might be of interest to you. And you're welcome to, you know, you're very much welcome to get involved in the comments and all the rest of it, and watch, you know, and you know, interact on this. Is definitely not about nationalism, though, you know, though it's really hard to separate England from English, but it has done its own thing all around the world. I mean, my wife is Indian, and she speaks a form of English that preserves a lot of ancient stuff as well. So I've never been in a field with so much sanfoin in it, and it's really nice. I had to go to a specialist seed guy to get my sanfoin. It's not just a sanfoin field though. It's got other nitrogen fixers. It's got clover, red clover, white clover, bird's foot trefoil, vetch. All of those plants take nitrogen from the air and put it into the ground. So you have to use less fertilizer. For low input plants, no fertilizer at all. You know, you can plough this over and put wheat or barley in here, and it should 1 year's growth should actually feed wheat or barley, but it wouldn't make a good yield for maize. So it's not massively economical, but it is an ecological solution to any future problems. So we go back to the old ways using herbal lays. Lay may be related to Lee. You'll hear me say Lee several times. The history of England is in its fields and forests, but particularly fields, because barley and wheat keep people alive. And you can have lots of babies and live happy lives in villages. And that's been the story of England for thousands of years. But lay, maybe this is a lay, so it's been laid over for a couple of years maybe, because bird's foot trefoil is perennial. It probably takes 2 years to get to this level, and yeah, the land is laid over, and then either cut it for hay to feed your animals in the winter, or let your animals come out here and feed off here, and then you can use them for meat and wool and so on, and milk. So yeah, so it's an ecological, nitrogen fixing plants are an ecological solution to any future problems. So anyway, this is North Head in the Bailiwick perambulation. Up there where we started was West Ridge, and now we're going to Foxley Croft. All of those names have disappeared from the map, apart from Foxley. There's a Foxley Wood about a mile further of where we're going. over there is Great Bedwyn, the village, and down at the bottom of this hill is the Dun, the Bedwyn. Where that tower is the antenna is is Horse Hall. Is Horse Hall, I think. I can't remember now, but I talked about it in one of the previous videos. And the road that goes in front of the word up there, that is the Mareaway, and that leads up to might be Stock is over there. Is pronounced Stock, which the English Place Name Society thinks is Stump. I don't see why it can't just be Stock, as it's stockade, an enclosure. There's hail in this. That's interesting. It's June.